Now, I often talk about how much I enjoy driving around in my rather nice car, which I do, but from time to time, I have to take the train. And of late, particularly in the last couple of weeks, I've had to take a train out of Waterloo Station, which is supposedly one of the busiest stations in Britain. I think it might even be the busiest station in Britain. But as I was sitting down this morning waiting to get on my train, 'cause I was a bit early, had a cup of coffee, and I was reading all these signs about how service is going to be interrupted over Christmas, right? And obviously, there's no service, I think, on Christmas Day. There's no service on Boxing Day. There's no service on the 27th or the 28th. And this whole list and litany of what's going wrong is because they're fixing the track, apparently, between Waterloo and Clapham, which is about, I don't know, 20 yards away. And there's going to be severe disruption. But that's not what I'm talking about this morning. What I want to talk about is the ludicrous nature of the warnings that you hear and the announcements that you hear all the time, because I don't know what world people think we are living in now. But it starts when you come out of the underground at Waterloo, and as you go up the escalator to get into the main sort of railway station part of the station, there's a voice that says, "Escalators are moving machinery. Please take care when you are using them." You can see that it's moving. Sometimes it's not moving because sometimes they're broken and you have to walk up. But you know that it's a piece of moving machinery. I mean, I don't know who they think they're dealing with. They put these brushes on the side now so you don't trap your foot underneath the rubber. I mean, are people really that stupid? I can't believe it. Anyway, then you get on the train, right? And the first notice that you get told about is the one that says that various cards will not be valid on this particular journey. Like if you've got an Oyster card, which is what people have to travel around in London, it's like a contactless kind of travel card. Or if you've got a travel card that you've bought, you can't use any of that. No, absolutely not. And then it says, "Please treat our teams with kindness." All right. And they then describe how and what will happen to you if you don't treat them with kindness, because some people get quite irate on trains, and there's a good reason for it. Sometimes it's because some of the other individuals on trains are not exactly well behaved, or they're not doing what they're supposed to do. I've got a friend who once had a bit of an altercation on a train with a carriage, and you'll know what this is like, right? You get on the train, pretty empty carriage, hardly anybody there. And then the person either comes and sits next to you, or in the sort of 4 seats opposite you, or behind you in this case, right? And my friend, who doesn't have a particularly good temper when things go a bit wrong, noticed that this guy was munching on a packet of crisps, right? And there's something about people that eat on trains. I don't like it. I just don't think it's a place to eat. On the underground, it's even worse. You see people like digging into a bowl of coleslaw or something on the underground train. It's like, what are you thinking? Eat it on a park bench or something. When do you get home? Anyway, this guy behind my friend was munching away into his packet of crisps, and the smell from the packet of crisps was emanating throughout. And so my friend sort of got up on the seat and kneeled on the seat and poked his head over the back of the seat and said to this guy, "Excuse me, do you mind not eating that packet of crisps right behind me? The whole train is empty. Why don't you go and sit somewhere else?" And the guy clearly wasn't impressed with this and basically just continued to eat and ignored him. So my friend grabbed the packet of crisps out of his hand and chucked him out the window, which I thought was brilliant. And the guy was so shocked, I don't think he didn't know what to do, really. I think he got up and just disappeared and was never seen again. But anyway, so back to the journey, right? So once you're told to treat the teams with kindness, they then go into a long diatribe about how there are both uniformed and plainclothes revenue protection teams on the train. And if you don't have the right ticket, you may face a fine of a minimum £100, or you may face prosecution. They are also wearing body cameras so that they can make sure that you don't misbehave. And of course, if you do misbehave, you may well be reported to the British Transport Police and arrested. But please be kind. And you just think, what is this? What is this all about? We're constantly watching you. We want to make sure that you don't step out of line. You're not allowed to do anything that we don't like. I mean, I got one of these revenue protection officers, i.e. the guard, who came to check my ticket. And he asked me if the final destination on my ticket was my final destination. And I went, well, yeah. Well, it's a stupid question, isn't it? Well, I bought a ticket to go to a place. Why would I go somewhere else? It was almost as though, I was pretending that I was going to get off at this particular station because it wasn't very far, and I was going to try and bunk the rest of the way. I mean, I might have done that when I was a schoolboy. I'm not going to do it now. It's just mad. And these bloody announcements, they just don't stop. And about every sort of 35 or 60 seconds, there's another one. It's insane. I don't know what's going on with this country, but it needs to stop. They need to stop telling us things. It all started during COVID. Remember when they used to tell you to walk this way, stand here, don't go there, pay attention, don't be too close to people. That's when it started. And it hasn't stopped. And it needs to stop. And it needs to stop now.